Atlanta was a little bit different because it's probably when I didn't find out till later on because it's all I knew. It was like it's one of the most dominant black centers, concentration of blacks in the U.S. So I didn't really grow up with a lot of, for lack of a better term, white Caucasian people in my life outside of my teachers. I had some black teachers, instructors, but a lot of them were white. So that was my only interaction outside of television because my whole surroundings were black. You know what I mean? So that was, I think it gave me a sense of fortitude and it built a sense of strength too, as far as like, I don't know what it is to be in rural America and having to acclimate or assimilate another culture because we just lived inside our own culture. So it kind of strengthened that the black culture in me as far as just being okay with who we are. And like I say, early 80s, you're talking about the rap music was different. You got Public Enemy. My immediate environment would always emphasize the fact that we had to be better and that we always, no matter what we were doing, we represented black people. So no matter where I was at, no matter what I was doing, beyond just my immediate family, I represented black people as a whole in different spaces. So that taught me to carry myself in a certain way and always knowing like all eyes were on you, so to speak, at a certain time, because you were sending the message to other people in other realms when you came in contact with them about the diversity inside of our culture, outside of the norms, stereotypical norms.
Say more to that. Can you give me an example or a story for which that message or that understanding about yourself representing Black people came into play for you in any way?
It probably came early, like I said, early on. It didn't play until probably later on. It's like I was like, like what I guess the majority of American, the people who live in the suburbia, they have their kids, they go to private school. This is very, or even inside the Jewish communities I'm coming to see, you live a pretty isolated life within inside of your culture. And then when you turn 18, 19, you're released in the world, but you've gained a great sense of your culture and what it represents and what it stands for. So I didn't run into it probably till 18 or 19, where I had to really exercise it when I went into the corporate world. I went into working and stuff like that. Going to school is where I really had to apply that skill further on in my life. I really didn't run into it young because, like I said, once again, my majority of my environment, my time is probably 85%, if not even 90%, around Black people, most of the time.
Tell me about your mom.
Lady, a lot of respect for her father died when she was 10, and her mother died when she was 20, and she had me at 19. So kind of, she has siblings, but from that point forward, she's kind of been, trying to make a way. I don't know what it is not to have, a parent figure, a parental guidance after 20 years old. You know what I mean, going into your 20s. So I can't speak on that part of it, but a lot of compassion, a lot of admiration for the stuff that she's done in her life. With the challenges that she faced.
I mean, your mom would have grown up in Atlanta alongside a lot of what we would have seen in the 60s. Well, a lot of what you and I look back as far as 60s and 70s are concerned, which all kind of happens before we're born. You come in late 78, and I'm 83. So we're kind of just after these things have sort of like fanned out as far as some of the major marches, and we go into the 80s and we're going into the Reagan era and all of that kind of thing. And I'm just kind of curious how your mom, especially because she was young, sort of translated for you, maybe your identity. How did she help shape your identity? How did she help shape your perspective on yourself? Or what do you feel her influence, whether she directly told you or whether she exampled it for you or whether it was just in the space within your guys's community? How do you feel that she sort of helped shape that for you, for better, worse, or indifferent?
Like I say, I try to leave worse out of it because, like I say, life is about lessons. And, like I say, once again, being, young, having me at 19, which at that age, now was pretty young back then for having a kid. I feel like I grew up with her. I have a younger sibling who was probably more of her child, I kind of grew up with her because she was figuring things out. So I spent a lot of time by myself. I might tell a story like, now people probably get locked up for it. I remember she went to real estate school and she would leave me at home. I was 5 years old, but I was pretty responsible. I could, pay attention. And it wasn't illegal. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things weren't legal or looked down upon that we in society we look at as irregular norms now. But to be independent, be able to rely on myself, giving my instructions and, having to stay inside it in order for the family to function. I had to function at a high level of, you remember the latchkey kid era, right? There was the whole thing when they called us the latchkey kid. So, I walked to school, a lot of times she would get me up in the morning, but before I would leave the school, she would be gone. And I would have to walk to school by myself, go to school, and I'll come home. She wouldn't be home either. So, just learning how to be responsible, take care of myself. And I had to make a lot of decisions on the flies. I think our generation was probably, I can't say more well equipped, but we had to.